Hello everyone. I'm glad you visited my channel. My name is Julia. You are in the process of knitting in style. Today is the fifth and final part of the tutorial on how to knit this hat with ears. We will finish today. We will crochet around the hat and knit and sew on the ears that we have on top. For the fluffy hat, I did not crochet around with single crochet stitches. But here, since the yarn is thin, I will crochet with single crochet stitches. I will be crocheting, and at the same time, I will fully crochet these little strings with single crochet stitches. I think to make them look a bit more substantial, that will be better as I see it. I place the fabric with the wrong side facing me. I start to crochet with single crochet stitches. I think it's not necessary to show this anymore. I will just say that here in the corners, I will crochet 2 single crochet stitches for a nice smooth transition. So, we are crocheting around the hat. You can crochet in a different color, but I will do everything in one color. I will start from the back where my seam is. This piece of yarn is cut, and I will hide it right away. I insert the hook. Grab the new yarn, 1 chain stitch for the height. Let the end of the yarn hang down, and we continue to crochet with single crochet stitches. I will move this end of the yarn to the right. Later, I will crochet it in when I finish the edging. And I will hide this end of the yarn left from knitting the hat now. So, we will crochet the usual single crochet stitches. I will also accommodate this end of the yarn. A few stitches like this. We crocheted, and I bring the yarn here, and then I will cut it. Next, we just crochet with ordinary single crochet stitches. I prefer when the fabric is facing me, the row of edging lies. Like this, kind of towards me, that is. The interior of the hat is folded inward. Not outward, but inward. I prefer it this way. If you like it differently, of course, knit it differently. Friends, I want to note, by the way, I'm edging. When I transition from the cap to the ear, I knitted 2 single crochets in the corner stitch. Next, I knit regular single crochets. And I move to my cord. I also knit with regular single crochets, not pulling too tight. So as not to shorten the cord, let's edge freely like this. In the central stitch here, I knit 5 single crochets. We turn to the other side. Here it seems better to knit right away with the end of the yarn. We lay down the one that was here at the end to hide it. And here it seems better not to insert the hook into the stitch, right here at the edge, yes. We have a single stitch like this and lower down. Right here because it gets very wide with our straps. Next, on to the next stitch. Not here, we knit, but lower. I will knit like this. You see what you like best. Alright, let's finish up. Well, we finished the edging. Here's a chain stitch for securing, and we cut the yarn. We will hide and cut all these ends now. This is the kind of cap we have at the moment. Look at those cords. But still, I prefer it in a braid for such a yarn. If here, I was just showing how I knitted the fur cap. And I want to note here that where we have the double crochets on the edges, I knitted 2 single crochets, right here. Further, where I found holes, I knit 1 single crochet, and specifically where the double crochets are, then 2. So you know how I actually knitted here. And here it is also advisable not to pull too tight, so that our ear doesn't pucker. Nothing happened to them. That is, so freely. Everything in the world must be. Well, our ears are tied. Now we start knitting the ears that are on top. We form a ring with AMIGURUMI. We make 1 chain stitch. This will be our first stitch counted. We also knit 10 double crochets into the ring. In total we should have 11 double crochets. Including our lifting stitches, we pull the ring tight. We make a slip stitch. I insert the hook in 2. The first worked double crochet at the top, not into the chain stitch, but into the top of the first worked one. That is, effectively into our second double crochet. We join the round. We move on to the next 2 chain stitches. In the next round, we will, as usual, make increases. We will crochet 2 double crochets into each stitch of the previous round. In total, we should have 22 double crochets, including these chain stitches. This is our first double crochet. We will crochet into the chain stitches here. The second double crochet will be our increase. And further into each stitch of the previous round, we will crochet 2 double crochets. The last increase should go into the chain stitches. So we have 22 double crochets. We make a slip stitch. Here I insert in tool. My first worked one, the top here, not the chain stitch but the top of the second double crochet of this round. That's it, we close this round. Next we move on to the next. 2 chain stitches for lifting, by the way. In a fur hat are my fluffies. I stopped there. I made no further increases. There I have. The diameter has already reached 6 centimeters. Here I still need to knit 1 more row, so that the diameter is approximately 6 centimeters. The diameter of the ear, yes, this one. With the thin yarn here, I will knit 1 more row with increases. If you are knitting with that warm fur yarn, then you need to finish with the increases. So, this is the increase. So, this is our first stitch. Next, in the following row, we will alternate the increase with a double crochet. Here we have a double crochet. Next, we knit an increase here. 2 double crochets. Then, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 2. That is, we alternate like this until the end of the row. An increase with 1 double crochet. 33 double crochets have been made. A slip stitch. That's all. If you measure, the diameter here is about 6 centimeters. After this, friends, we move on to the next row. 2 chain stitches for lifting. And for the next 3 rows, we knit straight, without increases. Just straight, in that warm fur hat of mine. Yes, I knitted 2 rows straight. So in total, there were 4 rows knitted. Yes, here I have knitted 3, and I will knit 3 more straight. Without increases, 33 double crochets in each row. There were 22 double crochets for 2 rows. Here are 3 rows of 33 double crochets. That's all, and we will finish our knitting. We will make a chain stitch and cut the yarn. Well, look, I finished. Yes, tighten the yarn. That is a loop. We pull the thread. I left a sufficiently long end of the thread to sew this ear onto the hat. It folded like this, and we got this hollow ear which we will sew onto the hat. We will knit the second one in the same way. Well, I have knitted 2 ears. I already managed to sew one, and I want to tell you its size. Here at the widest point, my ear is about 8 centimeters. So you can orient yourself if you are knitting with some other yarn. This is what my ear turned out like. I have already sewn one. Now I will show you how I did it. We fold the hat like this in half, and here at the fold, counting from the crown, 3 rows down, where the 4th begins, we place a marker here. Then, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows down. At the end of the 7th row, we mark it with a marker as well. This way, I did it here too. Yes, and we take our ear. Here I started sewing from the top. And here it gets attached from the bottom. We threaded the thread through the needle, and now I insert the needle right here, where my marker is. This means that the ear should be positioned like this. This is approximately how we orient ourselves when sewing. Yes, and between these walls of the ear, there is that center. Yes, we should have about 5 stitches there. That is, the walls should be a little apart from each other. Yes, so the ear is hollow and not too flattened, but a little like this. So that it stands by itself. This is just an example. I'm saying how mine is. I left about 5 stitches between them. I don't know, for me this is probably the most difficult moment in this hat. That is, I really don't like sewing all this. Everything here needs to be done by eye, and I have, as they say, a very poor eye for this. So we pull the thread here, and look, I catch this braid here. Yes, I take only the last half stitch, not all of them. I insert the needle like this, pulling the thread through. Now we have the thread on top. Now from top to bottom into the next stitch, the last one, and at roughly this place where the hole should be, I poke the needle in and bring it out right next to it. The sun has indeed come out. I can't see anything on the screen, so opposite those threads I put the next stitch into the last one. Then from top to bottom into the neighboring stitch, I stretch it out like this, looking friends, I don't know. This is how I sew it on. Maybe you have a better method. The sun has set, thank you. So, I poke the needle in roughly opposite and we sew it on slowly. I have already moved to the other side. From this side, yes, I meant right here. That is, from there to here, about 5 columns, and we sew it on. Well, we check if we are sewing the second hole, so it is symmetrical to the first one. Well, that's it. It should turn out like this. We take off the markers, thread everything in, hide the ends, and our hat is ready. You can add something here if you like. You can add a flower if you are knitting for a girl. You can come up with some kind of face. Well, this is kind of the basic option. This hat is made of ordinary thread, and this one is my marshovushka. So friends, I think you will knit something similar. If you find this masterclass helpful, please like and subscribe, because there will be quite a few similar hats with some faces soon. So, wishing everyone a good mood, happy knitting, and see you soon.